When Tamara Holloway opened her eyes after 12 days in a coma, the first words that scraped from her throat were, "Where's my husband?" He was supposed to be there, holding her hand, whispering that she'd made it. That's what husbands did when their wives were crushed beneath 20 tons of steel and dirt. That's what he'd promised, in sickness and in health. He wasn't there. Well, Tamara lay broken, ribs shattered, spine fractured, lungs collapsed. He was 9 miles away, signing for a queen-sized memory foam bed with an adjustable base. Beside him stood Anka Resnick, wearing Tamara's scarf, laughing as she selected fabric swatches. The hospital camera captured it all. While nurses monitored Tamara's fragile heartbeat, DeMarcus Hollis, her husband of 23 years, was planning a new life with her replacement. Tamara hadn't been a woman who dreamed of grandeur. Born in Lexington, Kentucky, into a world where sidewalks cracked before children turned 5, she learned early that love was measured in quiet acts. Cooking dinner while her mother worked double shifts, reading permission slips to her younger sisters, ironing church clothes on Saturday nights. Her first job at 15? Washing hair in her aunt's salon. By 32, she'd saved more than most women twice her age, not through luck, but through relentless discipline. 2 jobs: school lunch lady by day, diner waitress by night. Every extra tip, every birthday check, every tax refund went into a joint account they called the Future Fund. Airtight, irrevocable, locked until death. No divorce, no emergency, no one could touch it but them. She didn't need a man to build her dream, a small bakery with her name on the glass, where cinnamon bread could make you forget your name. But when DeMarcus Hollis walked into her life, his pressed collars and quiet demeanor felt like peace. He was disciplined, methodical, a corrections officer with a reputation for being Hollis the Hawk, cold, controlled, never emotional. He didn't crave attention, he craved control. And Tamara, grounded in her own quiet strength, somehow calmed his storm. They married in 1998, bought a beige house with blue shutters on Whitney Court, paid bills on time, cut coupons, argued over thermostats, not love. They lost 2 babies, stopped speaking of it. Instead, they poured everything into the land off Nicholasville Road, the half-acre of weeds and wooden stakes marking where their bakery would rise. By 2021, the Future Fund held $226,417.32. Their life was a monument to patience. Then came the silence. DeMarcus started shielding his phone, working double shifts that ended long after midnight. His uniform returned unworn. Bank transfers appeared, $468.90 to a design firm, $1,300 to an architectural consultant. Visual renderings, he said, just researching the bakery space. Tamara believed him, or tried to. The fall began with a slip on icy pavement, a torn meniscus, 6 to 8 weeks recovery, crutches, no weight-bearing. She needed help. Anka help, DeMarcus suggested casually. Anka, the former babysitter, gone for a year. Tamara hesitated. Pain won. Anka moved back in, wore Tamara's robe, folded her laundry, used her measuring cups, hummed a foreign tune while cleaning, silencing instantly when Tamara entered the room. Tamara wrote it down, in a notebook hidden under her mattress. Observations, not accusations, just facts. Then came the moment in the kitchen, DeMarcus and Anka standing too close, side by side. Neither flinched when she appeared. No words, just stillness. Tamara stepped back, closed the door. Wrote, they were both standing too close in the kitchen. Neither of them moved. A pink toothbrush appeared in DeMarcus's duffel bag. New, unopened. Tamara zipped it back up. Didn't speak. Didn't cry. She just wrote, there's a new toothbrush in his travel bag. It's pink. Silence stretched, became a chasm. On November 17, 2021, Tamara walked her usual route to the vacant lot, their future bakery site. She bent to tie her shoe beside the wooden stake marking the front door. She heard it then. The engine, heavy, accelerating, metal grinding soil. She looked up. The bulldozer didn't slow. It hit her like a freight train, crushed her spine, punctured her lungs, dragged her body across gravel. Blood pooled from her nose and mouth. One shoe flew off. A cyclist found her. Called 911. At University of Kentucky Medical Center, surgeons fought for her life. Fractured spine, collapsed lungs, internal bleeding. They induced a coma to save her brain. 12 days passed. Machines breathed for her. DeMarcus never visited. But security footage showed him at Lexington Furniture Gallery on November 18th with Anka, laughing, choosing mattresses, signing for delivery. When Tamara woke, weak and broken, the nurse said, "He hasn't come, not once." Her sister, Rel, whispered the truth. And Tamara remembered. She remembered the speed, the angle, the deliberate aim. 3 days later, she asked for a pen, scribbled a name and number. Jerome Wallace. Call him. Private only. Jerome was no detective, just a regular at the Golden Fork Diner. Had seen DeMarcus, knew things. He listened, then he dug. He found receipts for 10 countertop slabs, ordered October 28th, paid with their joint card. Address? The bakery lot. He recovered deleted texts from DeMarcus's work phone. Threads labeled AR, Anger Resnick. Months of intimate planning. Tamara's schedule, her pain meds, her movements. One message, dated October 31st, 2021. Anka, we can't do this with her still here. DeMarcus, that's what I've been saying. Anka, you said you were handling it. DeMarcus, D-Day is marked, just let me lead. Attached, a calendar screenshot. Red circle around November 17th. Jerome traced the bulldozer, rented by Calvin Moss, a felon released from Grayson County Detention Center, DeMarcus's old workplace. Calvin died 13 days after the attack in a fire that gutted his halfway house. 2 others died. Fire marshal blamed faulty wiring. No autopsy. The building owner? Blue South Holdings, LLC. Managing member? DeMarcus Hollis. Jerome delivered the folder to Tamara's hospital bed. She read. Closed it. Don't tell him I'm awake. On January 5th, 2022, Tamara was discharged. No family, no balloons, just crutches and a limp. She refused hospital transport. Declined DeMarcus as her emergency contact. Jerome dropped her 1 block from home. She watched from his truck as Anka stepped out, humming. Same song. Same slippers. Tamara's slippers. She slipped through the neighbor's yard, used the spare key DeMarcus forgot she still had. Inside, the air smelled of tomato soup, her mother's recipe. Anka stood at the stove, barefoot, stirring. Tamara spoke. How do you sleep in a bed you helped kill someone for? The spoon clattered. Anka turned.
eyes wide, trembling. "He said you were dying, that you weren't going to wake up. He said it was happening anyway."
Tamara didn't flinch. He didn't lie to you. He tested you, and you failed. Anka sobbed. Tamara left. 2 days after Tamara Holloway limped out of her own kitchen, after she stood there, cane in hand, staring at the woman who had slipped into her marriage, her home, and even her slippers, Anka Resnick was found dead. She was slumped beside the stove, her body curled slightly as if she'd simply sat down and never gotten back up. The pot of tomato soup, still simmering faintly when the first officer arrived, had long since cooled. An empty wine bottle rested near her fingertips, its rim smudged with pink lipstick that didn't belong to the house's original mistress. There was no note, no sign of a struggle, no overturned chairs, no shattered glass, no frantic scrawls on the wall. Just silence, heavy, thick, and deliberate. The coroner's report came back clinical and cold, a lethal combination of oxycodone, trazodone, and alcohol. Ruled an accidental overdose. Case closed. Or so it seemed. DeMarcus Hollis walked through the front door that evening expecting calm. He expected the soft glow of lamplight, the murmur of Anka's voice, maybe even the scent of that damn soup still hanging in the air, the one Tamara's mother used to make, the one he never appreciated until someone else was making it. He expected to come home to the life he'd carefully constructed while his wife lay broken in a hospital bed, tubes snaking from her arms, machines breathing for her. What he found instead were flashing police lights, staining the front lawn blue and red, neighbors peering from behind half-drawn curtains, and his own front door flung open with yellow tape crisscrossing the frame like a crime scene ribbon. Inside, detectives moved with quiet efficiency, flipping through drawers, scanning hard drives, lifting papers with gloved hands. His sanctuary, the one he'd built on betrayal, was now an exhibit. It didn't take long for them to find the blueprints. Tucked inside a leather portfolio in his home office, rolled neatly beside a half-empty bottle of bourbon he'd never shared with Tamara, was the architectural plan for Luxe Retreat, high-end couples escape. Rendered in soft watercolor tones and elegant fonts, it looked like something out of a luxury travel magazine. But the coordinates didn't lie. The entire design, the infinity pool, the outdoor lounge, the private cabanas, was mapped precisely over the half-acre lot on Nicholasville Road. The same lot Tamara had walked every weekend for years, dreaming of flour-dusted counters and the smell of rising dough. The same lot where wooden stakes still marked where her bakery's front door would swing open. Signed boldly at the bottom, DeMarcus Hollis. No co-signature, no mention of Tamara, as if she'd never existed, as if her dreams had been nothing more than dirt to be paved over. Then came the financial records. The Future Fund, that sacred, untouchable joint account they'd built together over decades of double shifts, skipped vacations, and coupon-clipped groceries, was completely drained. $226,417.32. Gone. Not spent, not invested, transferred in 3 swift digital transactions to a new private account opened solely in DeMarcus's name. No notification, no discussion, no trace. It was as if he had pressed a button and erased 23 years of marriage with a single click. The bank logs showed the transfers happened while Tamara was still in a coma, her body clinging to life, her mind lost in darkness. He didn't wait for her to die. He didn't even wait for her to wake up. He just took it. And then, behind a false panel in his closet, hidden behind his neatly pressed dress shirts that still carried the faint scent of lavender detergent, they found the safe. Inside, 3 burner phones with wiped histories, though forensic techs later recovered partial call logs and deleted texts. Stacks of cash receipts, thousands of dollars in untraceable withdrawals made in the weeks leading up to the bulldozer incident. And then the most damning piece of all, a handwritten checklist scrawled in DeMarcus's own blocky script. Silence loose ends. And above it, underlined twice, C.M. Calvin Moss.
The same Calvin Moss who rented the bulldozer. The same Calvin Moss who died in a suspicious fire just 13 days after Tamara was crushed under 20 tons of steel. The same Calvin Moss whose name never appeared in any official police report until now. DeMarcus never confessed. Not once. Not during interrogation, not on the stand, not even when the prosecutor laid out the timeline, the texts, the receipts, the calendar with November 17th circled in red, the day Tamara tied her shoe beside the wooden stake and never saw the bulldozer coming. He sat stone-faced, jaw clenched, eyes fixed on some invisible point on the courtroom wall. He let his lawyer argue that Tamara was unstable, that she fabricated evidence, that she orchestrated her own near death for sympathy. He said nothing. At trial, the prosecution painted Tamara as a cold, calculating avenger, a woman who ground up pills, watched Anchor Resnick choke on her own breath, and walked away without dialing 911. They called her ruthless. They called her patient. They called her a murderer in a wheelchair. The defense, meanwhile, painted the truth. A woman betrayed by the man who swore to love her in sickness and in health, a man who chose a memory foam mattress over holding her hand in ICU. A woman who woke up to find her husband planning a luxury resort on the ashes of her dream, with her money, with her replacement, standing beside him, laughing. They didn't deny she killed Anka. They simply asked the jury, "What would you have done?" The jury saw both pictures, and they believed both. DeMarcus Hollis was found guilty of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, destruction of evidence, and financial fraud. 38 years, no parole. He'll be an old man before he sees sunlight without bars. Tamara Holloway was found guilty of second-degree murder for Anka Resnick's death. 16 years. She didn't flinch when the verdict was read. She didn't cry. She just nodded as if she'd known this was the price all along. No one celebrated. Not the prosecutors, not the press, not even the neighbors who used to wave at Tamara as she walked to the vacant lot with her measuring tape and her dreams. There was no victory here. Only wreckage. The land on Nicholasville Road remains untouched. Weeds have swallowed the wooden stakes. The wind has carried off the last sign that once read, "Holloway's Hearth, coming soon." Rain and time have blurred the lines of what was supposed to be. No bulldozers come now, no architects, no couples dreaming of luxury escapes. Just silence, and the slow, stubborn return of the earth. DeMarcus writes letters from prison, dozens of them, begging, pleading, swearing he was set up, claiming Tamara manipulated everyone, the jury, the detectives, even Anka. He mails them to her sister, her lawyer, the warden, anyone who might pass them along. Tamara never opens a single one. She doesn't tear them up. She doesn't burn them. She just lets them pile up, unopened, like unread obituaries. She walks now with a cane, her spine still remembering the weight of the steel that tried to erase her. Her back is slightly hunched, her gait unsteady, but her eyes, they stay forward, always forward. She doesn't look back at the house, doesn't drive past the lot, doesn't linger on the what-ifs. She didn't want to become a symbol, didn't want headlines or hashtags or true crime podcasts dissecting her pain. She just wanted a warm kitchen. The smell of cinnamon bread curling through the air. A man who stayed. Not a man who redesigned her life while she lay dying. When betrayal arrives on treads, wearing a badge, whispering promises, signing blueprints over your future, what do you become when you survive? Survival isn't justice. It isn't a triumph. It's not even closure. It's something heavier, something quieter, something only the broken truly understand. Because sometimes, when someone tries to erase you from your own story, when they think coma means consent, silence means surrender, and dreams are just dirt to be paved over, you don't scream. You don't beg. You don't collapse. You finish the sentence yourself. and you make sure the world hears the period at the end.